Drama International.
Finding Joe by Les Smith.
Are you sure this is the way in?
Yeah. All the buildings are boarded up at the front. This passageway's the only way in. It has to be. Oh, watch the glass, look.
Oh, it's disgusting down here.
Yes. Oh, here's the door.
I can't believe people live in places like this. It's just derelict.
Well, it's got a roof.
But why? I mean... Shh. What?
In there.
Do you think we should knock?
Yeah. Anybody in?
Do you want to kick us out, do you, eh?
No, we haven't come to do anything like that.
We're looking for someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we're hoping you might be able to help us. We need to find someone called Joe. We think he's living rough in this area. Do any of you know him?
What's he look like?
We don't actually know.
We've never met him, you see.
Look, it's a long story, but the thing is we need to find him. It's pretty important.
We've been told that we might find him here.
Well, you won't, so you better go.
Look, he isn't in any trouble. We aren't trying to catch him or anything. We've got some news for him. Good news. He's due for some money. An inheritance.
Eh? Oh, I've just remembered. My name's Joe.
It's a trick, ain't it? I bet you're from the council, really, snooping about.
I can promise you, we're not.
Doesn't anyone at least know where he might be?
His name's Joe. He'll be about 26 years old.
Well, he's not here.
We're wasting our time here, Mike. Let's go.
Come on, then.
Oh, that's it then. We might as well give up and go home. Forget all about it.
I don't know. I think he's in there. He's one of them. Maybe afraid to show himself. Probably thinks we're out to get him.
But for what?
Who knows? He might have been involved in all sorts of things for all we know. He might owe some money.
And think we're here to collect.
Exactly. Come on.
Oh, no, Mike. We can't go back in there. If Joe's one of them, he'd have shown himself when we mentioned the inheritance. Surely.
Yes, but maybe not if... They're throwing bottles at us now.
We're obviously not welcome. Come on, let's go.
Attention passengers awaiting the 1915 train for Sheffield. This train is running approximately 20:20 minutes late.
Oh, well. Time for another coffee, I suppose.
We may as well take a seat in the waiting room if it's going to be another 20 minutes.
Good idea.
Sugar?
Yes. Thanks.
So, a complete waste of time that's been.
Well, did you really think we'd find him?
Yes, I thought we would.
Yes, but we didn't know there'd be this many homeless kids living rough in the Clapham area.
We'll just have to do some more digging and see what else we can find out. For all we know, he might not be in London at all. He might have packed up and left. Might be anywhere.
Excuse me, could I, Oh, don't look at me like that. I'm not begging.
I'm sorry. What can I help you with?
You don't recognise me, do you? I threw a bottle at you yesterday in Patrick Street. I'm sorry about that. You said you were looking for somebody called Joe.
Yes. You told us to go away.
Yeah, I know. You shouldn't have been there.
You mean it's dangerous for us?
Not just for you.
Well, what do you mean? Is this something to do with Joe?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure if it is the person you're after, but I think he might be. Listen, I couldn't say anything back there at the squat, and I don't want anybody to know I followed you.
Okay.
Is Joe in some kind of trouble?
Don't worry. Anything you say is between you and us. We promise.
You sure?
Absolutely. Would you like a drink from the machine?
Yeah, coffee with sugar.
Do you live there, then? In Patrick Street?
I might do.
Well, do you?
Yeah, some of the time. But you don't need to know about me. It's Joe you're looking for, ain't it?
Well, you might just be playing games with us for all I know.
Is that what you think? That I've just followed you everywhere you've been for the past 4 hours, just for the fun of it?
You've been following us?
Oh, yeah. I can tell you every place you've been since you left Patrick Street.
Why?
Well, maybe it's just 'cause I've got nothing better to do, eh? Maybe I'm just playing games like you said. Look, I'll tell you what. Forget even Kate, all right?
No. Hang on. Look, I didn't mean...
Mike?
She's gone. I think I've upset her.
Oh, for goodness sake, Mike. What did you say to her?
Nothing. She just seemed to have this bit of an attitude.
I don't even know her name.
Yes, but we know where she hangs out, don't we? Come on, I don't think it's quite time for us to go home yet.
Do you think we're doing the right thing coming back here?
I hope so.
But she said she didn't want to talk to us in front of the others. Why would she talk now?
Why do you think? Because one of the others was Joe. That's why.
Shh. There's somebody watching us. I'm sure there is.
What was that?
It came from up there somewhere. Can't see anyone, though.
It must be her. Throwing bottles again. At least it's only a plastic one this time.
If it's you, I'm sorry. I know you're not playing games. Listen, we'd like to talk to you.
Shh. Look. There's some paper in this bottle. I think it's a note. I just can't quite reach it.
Come on out. We can talk.
No, Mike. Don't you see? This is exactly what we want. She isn't likely to talk to us here, is she? Come on. Let's find somewhere to sit down. See what this note says.
Get on your train. I'm watching you. Don't come back.
I don't think she's going to cooperate.
Yes, but she's still watching us. I mean, think about it. Why would she? Why would she even bother to write us a message?
Get on your train. I'm watching you, okay. Sounds more like a threat than anything else.
I've got it. She wants to meet us at the railway station again, in the waiting room like before.
Away from the squat.
Yes. Look, I'll tell you what. We'll set off in the morning. We'll get to the station an hour early, so we've a decent hour to wait. If she doesn't turn up, we'll get on the train and go home. If she does, we'll see what she has to tell us.
Please stand away from the platform edge. The train approaching platform 4B is the 9:42 to Sheffield. This is a direct service.
No sign of the girl.
Oh, well, seems I was wrong.
So what do we do?
Catch the train, I suppose. Oh, you think they'd put more carriages on? Look at us all crammed like sardines.
Stop complaining.
Oh, I'll be getting off this next station.
Oh, no problem.
I agree, it does get a bit uncomfortable sometimes.
Yes.
Anyway, I'll start heading for the doors, I think. Good day.
Yes, and to you. Goodbye.
Bye. Honestly, Mike.
Sorry.
Didn't think, as always. Same with the girl. She'd have probably taken us straight to Joe if you hadn't said whatever you did.
Yes, all right. Look, I'm sorry. You were right. I did put my foot in it, didn't I? But then what did we know about her anyway? She could have just been leading us on, promising to find him for us for a price, and chances are we'd have never seen her again.
No, I don't think so. I think she does know something, but she's frightened. She had to be sure she could trust us.
Excuse me, you don't mind if I plonk myself down here, do you?
Well, no. Feel free by all means.
You all right then?
Pardon?
Are you all right?
Yeah, we're fine, thanks. Yes, thank you very much.
Tickets?
2 singles to Sheffield, please.
And 1 return.
Are you all together?
Oh, no. Just us 2.
But you can pay for me and all, can't you?
What?
I'm only on this train because of you.
Pardon?
Mike, it must be.
Yeah, it's me, Little Joe. So, hang on a minute. Hang on. I want to get this straight. What you're saying is that my granddad has popped his clogs and left me loads of money.
That's one way of putting it, yes.
So you're my uncle?
Yes, I'm your mother's brother. I don't know if you remember anything about your mother at all, do you?
No.
Well, I don't know how much of this you already know, but your mother left the family when she was 17. Got in with the wrong sort and eventually ended up in prison. By all accounts, she had you while she was inside, and you were put into social care. That's just about all we knew until we started looking into your whereabouts.
Oh, yeah?
You've been in some trouble yourself, haven't you?
Well, I've never hurt nobody.
A lot of people have tried to help you, though, haven't they?
Oh, so that's how you tracked me down, is it?
Well, yes, but we've seen the letters. You used to write to your grandfather years ago, didn't you? And he wrote to you. But he didn't tell us. Until we found the letters, we didn't even know you existed.
Oh, so he kept the letters, did he?
Treasured them.
Listen, you won't need to worry about money anymore, Joe. But you will have to get your life sorted out. We can help you do that.
So, why do you want to do that, then?
It was your grandfather's last request that we find your mother. And, failing that, we find you. I suppose you know your mother is no longer with us.
Yeah, she's dead, I know that. Don't make no difference to me. Never knew her, did I?
A drink problem seems to have been her downfall, I'm afraid. In fact, it was probably the news of what happened to her that led to your grandfather's death in the end. I think he always hoped deep down that Julie would just come home one day, say sorry, and that would just be that. It never happened, though, and it was never likely to.
So, how much dosh am I getting then?
Well, we need to be absolutely sure, first of all, that you are who you say you are.
Oh.
Then we'll need to make sure you have all the support you need to pick yourself up.
Pick myself up? What do you mean?
Out of the gutter, Joe. To be a responsible adult. No drugs, no alcohol.
Well, that's my business, isn't it?
Look, do you realise just how much money has been left to you?
No. Well, I'm still waiting for you to tell me, aren't I?
Well, it's enough to set you up very nicely. Or, on the other hand, plenty to waste, to lose, to get into the hands of criminals. That isn't what your grandfather wanted for you. And we don't want to see that happen either.
We just want to make sure that the money helps you to live a better life.
What for? What's it to you what I do, eh?
We're doing it for your grandfather. It's what he wanted.
So, how much money am I getting in?
I can't tell you yet. Not until we're sure of your identity.
Oh, come on, give us a clue. £1,000? 10,000?
It's a fair bit more than that, Joe.
More than 10 grand, eh? Ahoy! You lot! You're on the same train as a millionaire! Guess who it is, eh? It's me, Little Joe! They've come to save me from ruining myself! Ain't that nice, eh?
Please, just sit down.
That's good news, though, isn't it?
Yes, but the whole train doesn't need to know.
What's your surname, Joe?
Richards.
So, Do you know anything at all about your mother?
Oh, I know what her name is. Was. That's all.
Haven't you ever tried to find out more?
What for? She dumped me, didn't she? What else do I need to know about her?
Look, I realise life can't have been that easy for you.
Yeah, it's all right now, ain't it, eh?
It looks like it, yes.
What we need to know, Joe, is how we can contact you. You see, we will need to meet you again, properly, to talk about it.
But we need to see you alone, OK? You must be alone.
All right, then.
You call us. Here.
As soon as you can.
So, this is it. 225 North Street, Shoreditch. The flat above the newsagents. At least it isn't that terrible place that girl came from.
Yes, that girl. I wonder who she was. How did she know him?
He was there among them all the time.
Do you think so?
Yes. I hope this hasn't been a wild goose chase after all the trouble we've gone to. And after all the time he's kept us waiting. 3 weeks. Why keep us waiting 3 weeks?
I think he's coming down.
Hello. Come in.
Hello, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, come on up. I've not cleaned up or anything. I've been.
Well, don't worry about that.
Sit down. I'll move some papers and stuff out of the way.
Don't worry, we'll stand. We won't need to stay for long.
Oh, right. I'll go see if I've got any coffee.
No, don't worry about us.
It's all right. I've got some.
What a mess. You'd think he might have at least had the decency to tidy up. I mean, we are here to do him the biggest favour of his life, aren't we?
I ain't got no milk. Is that all right?
That's fine, Joe.
You got everything, then? You haven't forgotten
No, it's all here.
Good.
So, how have you been keeping?
Yeah, I feel great. Tom?
Have you been living in this flat very long, Joe?
Yeah. So, have you brought it then?
Sorry?
The dosh.
Well, it's not as simple as that. There are things we need to go through first. Signatures and...
We need proof of your identity.
Yes.
We'll need to see your birth certificate and, whatever documents you've got.
Indeed.
So, I'm not getting the money then?
Look, we explained all this to you on the train.
I thought you was bringing the money today.
No, we're going to try and sort things out today.
Well, maybe we should just leave it then, eh?
Leave it? What on earth do you mean?
Well, it's just a bit complicated, isn't it?
Do you realise we spent nearly a week trudging the streets of Clapham tracking you down? Now we've just waited 3 weeks for you to get round to calling us back, and you're not interested. I don't know why we bothered.
'Cause you want something from me.
No, we don't. We're helping you.
No. Hang on a minute, Maria. Maybe he's right. Maybe we do want something from you, Joe. Maybe some answers. When did you last see your mother?
I've never seen her, have I?
You mean you've never tried to track her down?
No. Why should I?
Are you sure you didn't make contact with her? Maybe just before she died?
Hang on a minute. What are you trying to say? That I had something to do with it?
Mike, stop it.
No, but just think about it. Why shouldn't he have had something to do with it? Joe needs money. Who might give him some? His mum, if he can find her.
Well, money for what?
You tell me. How about this flat?
There's no way you can pin this on me.
He's right, Mike. It's not what we're here for.
Yeah, but just think. What if we find some evidence to show that he had something to do with Julie's death? We might not have to do what we came to do.
No, Mike. Joe, there is an inheritance. Half of your grandfather's estate, £120,000, goes to your mother. But, as stated in the will, since she's no longer here, it's yours.
What about the other half, then?
That's ours.
Right, so 120,000 quid, then?
In your name, yes.
And what if you hadn't been able to find me? Then what?
It would have stayed where it was, unless it's found that you were no longer alive to claim it. Then it would have come to us.
Right.
So maybe you can see now why it was so important that we found you.
Yeah, to make sure I get my money. Ta!
No, not quite, Joe.
What then?
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm really sorry. You see, we don't think it would be a good idea to let you have the money.
No.
You'd only waste it.
That's why we had to find you.
Hey? I don't get it. Hey! What are you doing?
Yes, it's a gun, Joe.
What's going on?
Well, it's like this. We need you out of the way. 120,000 doesn't even pay our debts. Double it, and it becomes a bit more useful. Get the picture?
Yeah. You want my half of the money as well. But
Full marks, Joe.
look, don't shoot, all right?
I hope we don't need to. If you do as we say, there's an easier way out for you.
What? Here, what's the rubber gloves for?
Don't worry about the gloves, Joe. Just you worry about these.
Tablets?
Hold them in your hand, Joe. Get your fingers on the bottle.
Tablets? Oh, now, hang on a minute.
It's the easy way, Joe. No mess.
And it looks like you did it yourself. All your own idea.
It worked for your mother.
Hey? You mean it was you? What?
We put her out of her misery, yes. I mean, it can't have been much of an existence for her, living in those conditions. She wouldn't have known what to do with her inheritance anyway. We just sped things up a little for her, just like we're about to do for you.
Take the bottle, Joe.
Take it, Joe.
Listen, I don't want the stinking money. Just have it, all right? You can have it.
Sorry, Joe, doesn't work like that. As long as you're alive, it has to be yours.
What? I'll tell you what, I'll give it to you then, when I've got it. I swear I will.
Take the bottle. Here.
No.
We're giving you a chance, Joe. You can go peacefully. It'll be easy.
You don't think we're serious, do you? All right. Say goodbye then, Joe.
Oh, all right. All right.
Good boy. That's more like it, Joe. That's it. Get your hands around that bottle.
Oh, yeah. So there's plenty of nice fingerprints on it. And all mine, eh?
That's the idea.
You're not as stupid as you look, are you, Joe? And seeing as you're being such a good boy, we've got a little farewell treat for you.
Bottle of gin?
Yes. Once you've downed half a bottle of this and taken the tablets, well, I think the story will tell itself. Don't worry, we've spared no expense. It's the finest London gin, this is.
Yeah. Especially when my mum only got the cheap whiskey.
What?
Don't you think you're pushing your luck committing the same crime twice?
He's got a point there, Mike.
No, don't worry. It'll be a coincidence. Happens to all your type in the end. We'll just call it a tragic accident, except it won't really be all that sad with you, Joe, 'cause nobody will actually care. Filthy bloke dies in filthy flat. Happens all the time.
Yeah, except you're making a mistake with the gloves.
What do you mean?
The type you're wearing. Got 'em as a job lot, did you? They're for washing up.
They're fine for what we need them for.
Oh, yeah. They're even dipped in antibacterial disinfectant for extra kitchen hygiene.
What are you on about?
I bet the police thought it a bit strange when that whiskey bottle they found and the tablet bottle had traces of disinfectant on them, but not the body itself.
What? Look, how do you know about the whiskey bottle?
It's going to be very interesting for the police, isn't it? when they find these balls next to my body. I mean, it's not likely I'd have any use for disinfectant, is it? Not in my filthy little flat, eh?
Just a minute. Something isn't right here.
He knows things, Mike. Shoot him. Do it.
No, I want to know what he knows and how he knows.
Just shoot him. We've got to get out of here. Shoot him. Do it. Now!
Get it done. You all right?
Yeah. Fine, thanks.
Get him to the ambulance.
Come on this way, then.
It's a trap. This whole thing's been a trap.
Yeah. Brilliant, wasn't it? It wasn't too difficult to set, neither.
But who? How?
I think you can come through, Mr. Richards.
What?
Hello, Maria. Fancy telling poor Joe I was dead. I've never felt better. And I won't be going anywhere a good while yet, I hope.
I don't get it.
Well, I suspected something was going on. You didn't expect me to get better, did you, when I had my bad turn those months ago? But I wasn't too ill to hear you going through drawers, trying to find things. Then came the news of Julie. I did notice that you and Michael happened to be away at the time of the supposed accidental death, especially since we'd just had that blazing row about the will. Yes, I remember seeing that look in Michael's eyes even then, a greedy, plotting look. Then, when we found out about Julie...
You suspected us.
I hoped I was wrong, Maria. I really hoped I was wrong. But I had to know, for my own peace of mind. That's why I told you both about Joe. Even I didn't know that Julie had a child until after what happened. I could, of course, have left everything to you two. After all, I didn't know this Joe from Adam. But no, I put Joe into the will, to see what would happen.
Don't lie. You knew about Joe all along. You wrote to him. We saw the letters.
I made them up, planted them there for you to find, the start of a trail for you to follow. And you did.
So you're not Joe?
Brian Gray, private investigator.
I hired him, and he's done a marvellous job.
Oh, I get it. There was never a Joe anyway.
Oh, but there is. Thanks again to Brian, we've tracked the real Joe down as well. It's just that there's something about Joe that you didn't know. Just one little detail that would have prevented you finding him anyway.
I think you can come through now, Joe.
Hello. You? But...
Yes, meet Joe, Maria.
All the time you were looking for some bloke called Joe. The Joe you wanted was a she, and she was following you all over London. Even came to see you at the station.
How very clever.
Anyway, you'll be pleased to know that Joe will be well looked after from now on. Not only that, she has employment, I believe.
Yeah, I've been on the lookout for an assistant. Somebody who can follow people around, observe, hide in the shadows.
I think you can take Mrs. Richards away now, Constable.
Oh, that was scary. I thought you were a goner there, Brian.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about it anymore, eh? I mean, it's all sorted now, isn't it?
I mean, if that policeman hadn't been in the other room with his gun ready... Brian?
Oh, dear. I think your new boss has just fainted, Joe.
In Finding Joe, you heard Maggie Mash as Maria, Pete Haslam as Mike, Ginny Carlin as Joe, Les Smith as the private investigator, and Redvers Kyle as Mr. Richards. Other parts were played by Howard Watson.
Armagh International.
He's got to keep playing that music, and I've got to listen. If he keeps it up long enough, I'll have a chance. But if he stops, I'm going to die. And he may stop. He may stop any minute because that's what he wants. He wants me to die. My name's Monk Slavin. I'm a flyer. I don't know whatever brought me to Calcutta, but something about the name had the smell of gold. It sounded like the kind of place where a good pilot who didn't ask questions might make a deal. A big deal and a fast one. But nothing seemed to be drifting my way. Nothing but the intense hot wind of the monsoon and the fog from the Ganges and the sea, rolling over the city from all sides and strangling it. There was nothing to do but drink gin and quinine water at the airport bar and pray that you didn't get malaria.
Oh, hello, Slavin.
Oh, hello, Grant. You back again?
Just flew in with a small cargo, a very small one. Mind if I sit down?
Help yourself. You won't get out of Calcutta tonight. Another 5 minutes of that fog, and there'll be a better ceiling in here than there is out there.
You sound like the monsoon's getting on your nerves. What you need is a job.
Doing what? Flying stinking hides down here from Kathmandu? You don't call that a job, do you?
It's the best work I can get at the moment. Now, if I had a chap like you to handle the flights, I'd have time to dig up some new business.
You don't have to dig it up, Grant. It's waiting for you. You used to ferry a lot of stuff in and out of China.
Yes, but that was before the present situation.
You could still make a buck out of China. A good fat profit anytime you wanted.
I don't fly contraband.
Oh, ethics, huh?
Not that you care to call it that yet.
That's why you're starving with a lousy one-ship freight line.
I could take offense at that, but I won't. You don't even have a ship, Slavin, and I'll wager you have very little cash.
Well, that's a safe wager. You'd win.
Why not be practical, old boy? I can offer you £100 a month and meals and quarters at the base at Kathmandu.
You know, I don't know how I can resist this chance to become a millionaire, but I'll try.
Cushy enough. 420 miles down, 420 back, and no flying over the hump.
No, thanks.
Beg pardon, Mr. Grant.
Oh, here's my mechanic.
I have completed your errand, sir.
Oh, that's fine, Jafar. I'll be right with you. If you change your mind, Slavin, you know where to find me.
Yeah, leave a light burning in the window, but don't wait up for me. That's all I got. 2-bit offers from men like Grant. A beggar, just like the reformed beggar that followed him around. His native man, Jafar. A Hindu street faker who learned about planes at an RAF base during the war. Now Grant had him for a grease monkey and a radio operator at the base. You couldn't beat the British. They found a way to hang on. I reached for my half-empty glass, and there's another drink beside it, a full one. A drink I hadn't ordered.
Is it permissible for a lady to buy the drink?
Permissible? It's a big, happy new custom. And thank the lady for me if you ever see her.
The American flyer speaks sharply, like the eagle. But the poor eagle has no wings.
You were going to fix that for me, baby, remember? You had big connections while I'm still sitting here waiting.
My friend can use a flyer, but only if he has a plane.
But just wait here. I'll go out and buy one. How come your hotshot connections can't afford a plane?
It's not the case of affording. Planes are difficult to get. The license, the questions. The authorities are forever asking questions. But my friends, they never ask questions. If you had a plane, for instance, they would not ask who owned it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I heard Grant offer you a job. If you worked for him, there would be days when you would be waiting here for cargo. Enough time to make a little extra flight. A flight not on Mr. Grant's schedule. And remember, my friends pay well.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe Grant's going to get himself a pilot after all. So I took Grant's job, and the next morning when the weather cleared, we drove to the field. Through the teeming streets with hot, oppressive, suffocating wind carrying the stench of the salt marshes across the city. It seemed like an eternity before we were off the ground and feeling the cool mercy of being airborne.
Well, old boy, what do you think of her?
Well, she handles all right. I just don't like the Havilands. What is it, war surplus?
Yes, but completely reconditioned. Pressurized cabin, heating and air conditioning system. I've changed everything for comfort.
Yeah, even the radio. Why the open speaker instead of the headphones?
Picked up a fungus infection in my ears in Burma during the war. Headphones were painful, so I put in a speaker.
Well, I thought the British philosophy about pain was grin and bear it.
Only when we can't do anything about it, old boy.
Oh, yeah, I see. What's our ETA?
Hour and a half. How's your landing strip? We call the base Black Cat. Your plane identification is Red Kitten. The field's a bit like a waffle iron, so set her down as gently as you can. I'll treat her like she was my own, Grant. Just like she was my very own. Well, Kathmandu was no improvement on Calcutta. I could see it from the air as we came in. The ancient wooden buildings and the temples, thousands of them, but outnumbered by the throngs of humanity in the dirty streets. We barely hit the strip before the rain started again, brought in from nowhere by the wind. We were weathered down again at the stinking base outside the town, and that's when Jafar, the mechanic, started with the punji, a kind of a native flute. I say, Slavin, do sit down. You're wearing me out. I'm wearing you out. Listen to that thing. Don't he ever stop? He's just amusing himself. Sit down, man. How about a hand of cards? How can I concentrate on cards while he's playing that thing? Can't you make him stop? You can't make him do anything. He's in his own hut, and, well, frankly, he's not bothering me. Well, he's bothering me. Why the slicker? Where are you going? Turn that thing off before it drives me nuts. Slavin, these Hindus are strange people. They resist pressure. I'd advise you to... Save it. Grease monkeys handle the same way in India as they do anywhere else. Slavin, be careful of that. Jafar, do you hear me? Jafar! Jafar, stop that thing! I don't know why I stopped inside the door, but I did. There was something eerie about the room. Something in Jafar's burning black eyes that held me. I watched the flute moving slowly as he played. Then I saw it in a dim light. The weaving, puffed head of a cobra. The snake was dancing in front of him. Oh, I'd seen cobras before in the bazaars and in the streets. No matter how many times I saw them, the sight of that deadly, slowly moving, puffed head was enough to turn my blood to ice. I backed slowly out of the room and closed the door. He played it every night after that, every waking hour of the night, until I could hear it even in my sleep. The strange, whining dirge, bringing with it the memory of a weaving head of a snake. In clear weather, I could get away from it for a while, but it would be waiting for me when I got back. And in Jafar's eyes, there was a challenge. I could feel his hot stare burning into me as we worked on the plane. What's on your mind, Jafar? What do you keep staring at me for?
Why did you change your mind, sir? Why do you now work for Mr. Grant?
What's it to you, Jafar?
Mr. Grant is good to Jafar. Mr. Grant is too quick to trust people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do, sir. You know.
Get out of here, Jafar. Get out of here.
I must work on Mr. Grant's plane, sir.
That's an order. Get out!
Hey! What's going on there?
Get out!
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Get him out of here before I kill him.
Go, Jafar. Please.
All right. If you say so, Mr. Grant.
Slavin, I don't know what started this, but I do know that I don't want it to happen again.
Then keep him out of my hair. I don't like any of these people, and he rates number one on my list.
You made that plain enough. I'll try to keep him away from you. I only hope he will stay away from you.
What do you mean by that?
You've hurt him in his pride, Slavin. You don't understand these Hindus. He won't come back at you with force, but he will come back.
Oh, will he? Well, he knows who's boss now. I'll be in Calcutta with this load tonight. Tell him to get that flute out of his system while I'm gone. If he plays it when I get back, I'll ram it down his throat.
Aren't you going to buy me a drink?
You don't make me any money, baby, so don't cost me any.
But I am going to make you money. A lot of money.
You better come up with it fast. My job looks temporary.
Is tomorrow fast enough?
Tomorrow I'm bringing another load of hides down from Kathmandu. I'm going back there tonight.
Oh, that will fit in nicely. When you leave Kathmandu tomorrow, you will make a short side trip. One stop in China. Then come back here to Calcutta.
China, huh? Well, now you're beginning to interest me, baby. Where in China?
My friend knows. His name is Karkanov. He will be waiting for you tonight when you return to Kathmandu. Meet him at midnight, at the rear of Great Temple of Vishnu, at edge of town.
How big is the job?
Big, but very little trouble. That is, if you are not squeamish.
When I say how big, I mean how much.
For you? 10,000 American dollars.
10,000? How much of that do you expect?
Oh, Carcona pays me. The 10,000 is all yours. Now will you buy me a drink?
Yeah. Now I'll buy both of us a drink. $10,000. Enough to get out of the trap. I can go back to the States on that, buy my own plane, pick up my own spots for a smart deal. I thought of it all the way back to Kathmandu. This would be my last night in that hole. My last night. Black Cat. Calling Black Cat. This is Red Kitten calling Black Cat, over.
Red Kitten, this is Black Cat. Go ahead.
ETA 15 minutes. Visibility poor. How is it there?
Poor, but all right for landing, sir.
Light landing fields on all corners of the field. Flares, you hear me?
Mr. Grant has already left to do that, sir.
Good.
Would you like some music, sir?
What do you mean, music?
My music, sir.
Why, that dirty little swine? He's just trying to needle me, but I wouldn't let him. I couldn't afford it now. Just this one night, I could forget anything thinking about that. I spotted the oil fires at the four corners of the field, burning a clear spot through the ground haze. I turned on my landing lights and set her down like an old lady's rocking chair. I'd never land on this field again. I'd use it for one more takeoff tomorrow, but I'd never land on it again.
Turn off your flashlight, Mr. Slowey.
Carcano? Where are you?
On the steps of the temple. No. Don't flash the light. Keep it off, please. Ah, you are very prompt, Mr. Slowey.
$10,000 worth.
What time do you expect to take off tomorrow?
I'm scheduled to leave for Calcutta at noon.
Excellent. As you have been told, I want you to go into China.
Oh, it's vague. It's a big country.
Inner Mongolia. It's just south of the city of Suchar.
That's about 1,000 miles in.
1,200. Here is a map.
What's the deal?
On the map is the location of a field. Not a regular air base, but good enough for a landing. You will time your landing for just before sundown. You will take off again almost immediate and return by night.
Back over the hump at night, huh? That makes it interesting.
It will be dull, really, as all well-planned things should be dull, but profitable. A countryman of mine named Leontovich will meet you when you land at Suchar. With him will be an old Chinese. They will return with you.
Too hot for him up there?
The old Chinese is a wealthy merchant. He will bring his wealth out with him. Through connections, we have arranged this escape for him.
Look, there's something else you'll have to arrange. I don't carry enough fuel to get me to Suchar and back to Calcutta.
You will be refueled. Nothing has been overlooked.
Where do I contact you when I get back?
When you land at Calcutta, taxi to the north end of the field. I will be there with automobile to pick up your passenger and his cargo.
Passenger? You mean passengers, don't you? You said there'd be two. Your man Leontovich and the old Chinese.
Oh, a trifle I forgot to mention. They will both start back with you, of course, but the old Chinese will not complete the trip. You understand?
Yeah, I understand. He disappeared into the darkness, and I started back to the field. The night was full of sound. Even the damp heat had a sound of its own, like nothing else in the world. But there was something else. Jafar, where are you? Jafar! Jafar! Where are you, Jafar? Where are you? Answer me! I'll find you! I'll get you! I'll get you, you dog! No, the devil. He's riding me. I can't afford to think about him now. I gotta think about tomorrow. Just get back to the field and think about tomorrow. He was on the field in the morning, checking the plane as though nothing had happened. But I could see the glitter in his black eyes like the glitter of a snake's. I wanted to smash his face with my fist, but I couldn't. I had to fly out as though nothing was wrong. The motors caught sweetly, and I lifted off the strip like a feather, and then headed south for Calcutta until I was out of sight of the field. Then I made a half circle to the north and headed for the hump. She took it like a swallow. Past the white peak of Mount Everest, the top of the world, and out over the great plateau of Tibet. Then the northern rim of the Himalayas dipped beneath my wings, and I was over the hill country of Mongolia. I hit it right on the nose, the field outside the town of Suchow, and made my landing just as the bottom edge of the sun was kissing the horizon.
I am Leontovich. The Chinese have a truck with fuel. Quickly.
Why so many of them? Karkanov said there'd be one Chinese.
They are the old man's friends. They come to see him off safely. That is why we must go to the bother of taking him along for a way.
All right, but watch them.
An armored car will come over the hill as we are ready to take off. Do not be alarmed.
I thought you had everything fixed here.
Quiet. They will not be after us. They will take care of the Chinese we leave behind.
Well, there better not be any slip-ups. Let's get out of here fast. Give me that hose up here. There were 5 of the Chinese, and deep in their impressive eyes was quiet terror. One was an old man clutching a wicker basket, but the terror in his eyes was tempered with a glint of hope. The others just stared at the plane with a terrible yearning. The last of the gas trickled into the tanks. We took the hose down. The truck backed off.
Are you ready?
Yeah, boost them in.
Come, old one.
They lifted the old man into the plane. Leontovich climbed in after him, closing the hatch. The motors caught, and I nosed her into the wind just as the 4 Chinese on the ground made a dash for the plane. The reason was clear. Coming across the hill at the end of the field, an armored car. Hey, what is this? They're shooting.
Not at us, but hurry.
Don't worry. Here we go.
Our friends on the ground seem to be dead. That was nicely arranged. Now they won't be able to talk.
How about the old man?
In the cabin, he saw nothing. It is almost dark. We can persuade him to leave us at any time now.
Wait. Someplace over Tibet.
As you say.
Karkanov's man hadn't flown before. I could see it in his face. And I was thinking about the wicker basket. That was the cargo I could carry alone, all alone. I didn't have to land at Calcutta. I could go on to Bombay and be out of India on a ship to Africa before morning. The moon was bright over Tibet, and it looked like a ghost land. The old Chinese seemed to be sleeping when I glanced back, his head bent down over the precious basket in his lap. I nodded to Leontovich. He moved slowly, methodically. He slipped an arm under the old man's head, jerked an elbow tight against his throat. I saw the old man's eyes, the terror and the hope mixed with surprise, then realization, then resignation. He slumped and the basket slid to the floor at his feet. I set the ship on the automatic pilot and went back into the cabin.
He is ready to leave us.
I'll open the hatch. You carry him over and dump him out.
Such a shame. But at least we shall keep the basket for remembrance.
He picked the old man up. I opened the hatch. As Leontovich came to the door, he felt the vacuum pull of the rushing air sliding past the plane. He tried to draw back, but I caught him with my foot and shoved them both out. No! I was alone in the cabin with the basket. When I opened it, I didn't even mind the stink of the hides. American dollars, British pounds, and jewelry. In a few hours, I'd be sailing from Bombay. A millionaire sailing from Bombay. Something was wrong. I felt it as I started back over the hump. It was bumpy, and the ship slithered and kicked, and there was a wall of darkness outside. There was something inside, too. Something or somebody in the cabin of the ship. I turned on the cabin lights and looked back, and there was nothing but a load of hides, but the feeling wouldn't go away. I tried to shake it off. In half an hour, I'd be passing over Kathmandu, just the sound in the night. I had to have a look through the cabin. I set the ship in the automatic pilot and slid from the seat, but she bucked me and I had to grab the controls. Mount Everest was someplace nearby in the dark. I was sweating. I couldn't leave the controls now. I had to stay with them. But I kept looking back into the cabin with that same feeling. Then I saw it. I saw something long and thin slithering across the hides. A loose rope. I tried to tell myself it was a loose rope, but a rope doesn't move like that. And the head lifted. The hooded head of a cobra. A cobra in the plane. The plane in the nearest base was Kathmandu, still 20 minutes away, and I couldn't take my hands off the controls. I flicked the radio switch. Black cat. This is Red Kitten calling Black Cat. Come in, Black Cat. Red Kitten calling. Come in, Black Cat. Over.
Black Cat to Red Kitten. It is a surprise to hear from you, sir. You should be in Calcutta, sir.
You know where I am, you devil, you filthy little devil.
Has my pet awakened? He wants to be fed, sir. The cobra is very mean when he is not fed.
You put him in the plane.
The sting of the cobra kills swiftly, Mr. Slavin.
What can I do? Jafar, I'm begging you. What can I do?
Nothing, sir. There's nothing you can do. I could help you,
He's getting
but...
closer. Please, he's getting closer, please. Please.
You do not like my music, sir.
Music?
A serenade on the flute might distract him, but you do not care for the flute.
Play it! For heaven's sake, man, play it. He's only 6 feet away from me.
I will play, but will you land at Kathmandu?
Yes, only play it. Play! The snake came closer. That ugly hooded head, spreading and raising and weaving in time with the music coming over the radio. It was only 2 feet away. Death only 2 feet away, and if Jafar stopped playing, he'd strike. An ugly, ill-tempered, hungry cobra, deadly to anybody but Jafar, who knew when he wanted to be fed. He knew the only thing in the world that could hold him was that flute. That flute, as long as Jafar kept playing it. I was over the hump. I saw the oil fires being lit on the strip at Black Cat. That meant that Grant knew I was coming in. The flute was driving me mad. And the cobra. I never knew when he'd strike at some movement of my hands on the controls, and yet I had to move him to land. Oh, Grant, where are you?
I'm here, Slavin.
Please, give me landing instructions. Please, Grant.
When you hit the strip, taxi over to the operations shack as close as you can get. Jafar can keep the flute going. We'll open the hatch and try to distract the snake. Maybe we can get you out.
Make him keep playing, Grant. Make him keep playing.
We're coming out to watch your landing. I have the police with me, Slavin. Your friends in Calcutta have already been arrested on Jafar's information.
I made my approach to the strip. The head of the snake never stopped weaving. I could see Grant and the police in the light of the oil fires. I cut the motors, dropped down at the edge of the field. Another minute. If Jafar could just keep playing another minute. I was ready to set her down. The ground was right under the wings. And then the flute stopped.
Happy landing!
Jafar! Jafar, he bit me!
Well, what do you think, officer? Will he live?
Oh, bad crash. Afraid not. Too bad about your plane.
Oh, it's insured. I'll get another.
Oh, you might possibly get the money and the jewels, too, if nobody claims them. I doubt if anybody will.
No matter. I only want what is my own.
Well, Jafar, I'm afraid I shall have to arrest you.
Why, sir? There is no law that says I must play my flute.
No, but you deliberately put the snake in the plane.
The snake lies there dead, sir. Have you examined it? It is not poisonous. The poison sac and the fangs I removed long ago.
Oh, you mean the snake couldn't have hurt him?
He couldn't have been killed by that snake any more than he could have been shot by an unloaded gun.
I did not harm him, sir. My people do not use violence. It is against our belief.
I say, there's a strange one. No matter how long I'm out here, I'll never understand him.
Neither will Slavin, I'm afraid. You'd better cover him. He's dead.
You have been listening to Drama International. Join us again next week at the same time for more Drama International. Drama International. Source of inspiration.
Hello, Mrs. Berry speaking.
Hello, Helen. This is Mary Shepherd. I've been trying to get you on the phone for ages.
What's happened, Mary?
I think I've got someone to buy my house at last.
Splendid.
The agent in London rang up this morning. He said he'd had an inquiry from an American lady who's recently come to live in England. It seems she knew my husband in America, and when she heard his house was for sale, she insisted on driving down to see it at once.
Is she there now?
No, but I'm expecting her at any moment. I'd like you to come over and help me to entertain her.
Oh, I'd love to. But I can't leave the house until George comes home. He's going to play golf this afternoon, and I could get him to drop me at your place on his way to the club.
Well, surely he won't play golf in all this rain.
Oh, that won't stop him.
I hope it won't stop our American friend either.
I hope not, Mary. Oh, you've waited so long for a buyer.
You don't think I'm asking too much, do you?
Not if she's an American, dear. They seem to have all the money nowadays.
Robert loved this house so much. I felt he'd expect me to get the best price I could for it.
Of course he would.
Oh, if I could afford to keep it up, I shouldn't dream of selling. But I'm glad to think it may be going to an American. Robert's books were so popular in the United States. Felicity Frobisher had a huge sale there. Oh, I can hear a car outside. Yes, I think my visitor has arrived. Yes, I can see her through the window. She's just getting out of the car.
What's she like?
Oh, she's tall and rather handsome, wearing a frivolous white hat, a sky blue suit, and rimless glasses.
What age?
I should say a well-preserved 55.
Is she alone?
No, there's a short man following her out of the car. I think he must be her husband.
Oh, you'd better go and be nice to them, Mary. I'll come over as soon as I can.
Oh, do hurry, won't you? I'm rather nervous with strangers.
I shan't be long.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mrs. Shepherd, I'm Mrs. Van Guyler, and this is my husband.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mrs. Shepherd?
We heard your house was for sale, and the agent sent us down to look it over. Did he call you?
Yes, he did. I've been expecting you.
I hope we're not bothering you.
No, not at all. Do come in, won't you?
Oh, thank you very much. It was good of you to receive us at such short notice. As a matter of fact, when I heard this house belonged to Robert Shepherd, I was all for buying it there and then. But Hugo... where are you, Hugo?
Oh, here I am.
Oh, Hugo, my husband, insisted on seeing the place first.
Naturally.
Not that he'd think of standing in my way if he knew I wanted something really badly.
I like to live in peace, Mrs. Shepherd. You know how it is.
Yes, I do. You knew my husband in America?
No, ma'am, I never had the privilege. Cornelia, that's my wife, and I knew him well.
Oh, yes, I knew him very well indeed. I was president for some years of the Boston branch of the Cultural League of American Womanhood.
Really?
We had poor Robert lecture to us 3 times, and I want to tell you, Mrs. Shepherd, that no one regrets his untimely passing more than I do.
Thank you.
I'm afraid the news of his death a year ago left me quite desolate. I remember I made an appointment with a hairdresser that afternoon, but when I heard the news, I canceled my appointment and went for a long walk instead. Didn't I, Hugo?
Oh, did you dare? I don't know. I was at the office.
Oh, yes, that was before you retired from business.
Do you intend to live permanently in this country?
Yes, we do. I just adore it. The culture and the tradition. I always promised myself that when Hugo retired, we'd come to live here. Of course, I never imagined I'd have the chance to live in Robert Shepherd's house, and when I heard it was for sale, why, it seemed just like destiny.
Well, would you like me to show you round the house?
Oh, later, if you like, though I'm sure it'll suit perfectly. What I would like to see more than anything is the room where Robert wrote all those wonderful novels.
He did all his writing in his study. Through that door.
Oh, might I just take a little peek?
Of course.
Oh, is everything just as he left it?
I change the flowers on his desk every day.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I feel that everything is so familiar, as if I'd lived here in the past.
Well, Robert gave a detailed description of his study in his novel Return to Nowhere.
Oh, no, I don't think it's that. It's something more.
My wife believes in a sort of affinity of souls, as if she'd known him previously.
It's positively uncanny, Mrs. Shepherd. I mean, from the very first moment we met...
Even before that.
What?
I say, even before you met him, dear, you were conscious of this thing.
Oh, I wish you wouldn't keep on calling it a thing, Hugo. Poor Hugo. He's so obtuse about these matters. You understand what I mean, Mrs. Shepherd, when I use the expression spiritual affinity.
I have a vague idea.
The very first time I read Her Damask Cheek, I said to myself, good gracious, this man has put me down on paper.
Pinned you down.
What's that?
Pinned you down, you say.
Did I? Well, never mind. Then later, when I read Felicity Frobisher, I knew there was nothing, not one little thing that he didn't know about me.
How interesting.
I don't mind telling you, Mrs. Shepherd. I was ready to curl right up and die of embarrassment.
Oh, really?
Well, to think that any man could know my heart so intimately. My goodness, I felt quite naked. You see, I realized that Felicity Frobisher was me. The absolute, fundamental me.
Do you really think so?
My dear, I'm positive about it. But didn't your husband tell you?
No, I don't believe he mentioned it.
Strange. At first I felt rather indignant with Robert for using me like that, but then I thought, what an honor, what a wonderful compliment he'd paid me, putting poor little me into his greatest novel. And I forgave him for everything.
Well, that was good of you.
I must say, though, I'm a little surprised he didn't tell you about me being his inspiration.
Robert didn't often discuss his work with me, Mrs. Van Guyler. He didn't seem to like talking about it.
No, he and I had several long talks when he was in Boston. Of course, I did draw him out a little. I know poor Robert was shy and wonderfully modest in spite of his success, but I flatter myself I did have the knack of making him talk about himself.
How clever of you.
No doubt he was inspired by this feeling of spiritual oneness.
Yes.
You never came with him on his lecture tours, did you?
No, I'm afraid I'm not a good traveller.
What a pity. You missed a lot by not coming to America.
Oh, yes, I rather think I did.
Now, about the house. We'll take it, of course, won't we, Hugo?
Why, yes, dear, I guess we will.
But you haven't seen it yet.
That's perfectly all right, Mrs. Shepherd. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
But don't you want to see upstairs? And the kitchen? You might think it too small.
If it's too small, we'll build it up a little. Oh, no, Mrs. Shepherd, don't you worry. When I make up my mind about a thing, I like to go right ahead. We don't want to rush you, of course, but if you could give us some idea when we might be able to move in. You know you'll be welcome to visit us with us here any time you like.
Thank you.
Sure, any time, Mrs. Shepherd.
You see, dear, I know just how you must be feeling about this dear old place, the memories and associations. And I want you to know that if you ever feel the urge to see it again, and maybe shed a tear or two on a sympathetic shoulder, why, you just come right down here and we'll be only too happy to see you.
That's very thoughtful of you, Mrs. Van Guyler.
Don't forget now, any time at all.
Excuse me, there's someone at the door. Well, here I am. Helen, dear, I feel awful bringing you out on such a wet day, but thanks for coming.
I'm delighted. I see by the enormous car that your visitors are still here.
Yes, they're still here.
Have you sold the house?
No, I haven't. And I'm not going to sell it, not to her.
Why, what's happened?
Oh, I just can't bear to think of her having it, that's all.
But why not?
She's done nothing but talk on and on about her spiritual relationship with Robert.
Good heavens.
She talks the greatest nonsense about being Robert's soulmate and knowing him in a previous life and so on. Oh, I will not have her living in this house, having cosy little chats with the spirit of my late husband.
Oh, I can imagine how you feel.
She also says that Robert used her as his model for Felicity Frobisher.
Oh, probably wishful thinking, my dear.
Well, what her husband thinks of it all, I don't know. He's rather a pet, but completely under her thumb.
Well, you could just tell her you changed your mind about selling the house.
No. Helen, I think I've got a better idea. I want to disillusion her about Robert.
Well, how?
I want you to pretend that you were his inspiration for Felicity.
Oh, Mary, dear, I've never claimed to be a paragon, but really...
Darling, I'm not asking you to be a woman like Felicity, but only pretend.
I doubt if I could do it convincingly.
Oh, nonsense, Helen. All it takes is a few little white lies, and you've been married long enough to make that sort of thing almost instinctive. Oh, come along. Let me introduce you. I think you'll find our visitors amusing. Can I offer you something, Mr. Van Guyler?
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Shepherd.
Not fruitcake, please. My husband suffers from dyspepsia, you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Another sandwich.
Thank you.
Well, as I was saying, Mrs. Perry, all Robert's books show wonderful insight into feminine character. But his masterpiece was undoubtedly Felicity Frobisher. Don't you think so?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, such brilliant understanding, such deep knowledge. It's a very personal regard for that book that I have, aside from its literary quality.
Really? Well, so have I.
You have. How is that, Mrs. Perry?
Well, it's something I'm rather shy about discussing with people who don't know me very well.
No, come, I think we're all friends here. At least we all have something in common. A deep affection for the memory of dear Robert.
Well, if I may count on your discretion.
Of course.
You don't mind, Mary, if I tell them?
Well, not if you feel you must, dear.
You see, Mrs. Van Guyler, when Robert wrote about Felicity Frobisher, he was really writing about me.
What? He was doing no such thing.
I beg your pardon?
Whatever gave you that idea? Felicity Frobisher happens to be me.
I'm afraid you must be mistaken, Mrs. Van Guyler.
I am not mistaken, Mrs. Perry.
Did Robert tell you that you were Felicity?
He didn't have to. I knew by the end of the first chapter.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you see, he told me.
I don't believe it.
You knew that I was Felicity, didn't you, Mary?
Well, I thought there was a close resemblance between you.
It's not true. I am Felicity. Hugo, you know me. Am I or am I not Felicity Frobisher?
I don't know, dear. I never read the book.
Oh, of course you read it. I saw you reading it.
Well, I started to read it, but I didn't get very far. It wasn't my cup of tea, I
Oh, I
guess.
tell you, the woman in that book is me. Everything I ever thought of, felt, all my most intimate secret life. It's all there.
Mrs. Van Guyler, Robert knew me for more than 10 years. How long did he know you?
Spiritually, Robert and I have been together and will be together for all time.
Could that be called living in sin?
Certainly not. Our relationship is the purest, most wonderful thing that ever happened to me.
I only have Robert's word for it, of course.
I don't believe it. No two people could be so alike.
Well, maybe he used part of you, dear, and part of Mrs. Perry.
Oh, nonsense.
I'm afraid he used all of me.
I tell you, he did no such thing. All those little touches, her moods of gaiety and melancholy, her mixture of tenderness and indifference, her outer calm concealing inner turmoil. These things are all me.
Strange how my friends all recognize me so easily. Some said they knew Felicity was me before they'd read 10 pages.
What fools your friends must be. If they knew me, they'd realize at once how utterly wrong they were.
My dear Mrs. Van Guyler, not by the greatest stretch of imagination could any normal person see you as Felicity Frobisher.
Oh, Hugo, are you going to sit there and allow this woman to insult me?
Well, what am I supposed to do, dear? Call the police?
Oh, how did I ever come to mistake you for a man?
As far as I can see, your only mistake was seeing yourself as a woman like Felicity.
How dare you? How dare you address me in such terms? Why, I've a good mind to sue you for defamation of character.
You'd be wasting your time, madam. You haven't got a leg to stand on.
What? I heard you, you libelous... I'll go straight to my lawyer. You'll never hear the end of this.
So it seems.
Why, you...
Oh, dear.
For heaven's sake, Cornelia, control yourself.
Oh, no, what's happened? She's fainted. Oh, she's having a fit.
Help me get her onto the sofa. That's the idea. She'll be all right. She's rather highly strung. Maybe a glass of water.
Oh, yes, I'll get it. Perhaps I should call the doctor.
Oh, no. She'll be all right presently.
Oh.
Take it easy, Cornelia. Don't get yourself all upset. You know it's not good for you.
No.
Now, just relax, dear. Put your feet up. There. That's better.
Does your wife do this sort of thing often?
No, not often, but every once in a while she gets sort of carried away. I guess she's rather emotional.
I'm sorry if I said anything to upset her.
You'll be a lot sorrier before I'm through with you.
Now, dear, calm yourself. Here's Mrs. Shepherd with some water. Sit up and take a good drink. It'll make you feel better. There, now. Everything's all right. No harm done. Just a little misunderstanding, that's all.
Everything is not all right, Hugo.
Are you feeling a little better?
Mrs. Shepherd, about buying this house.
Yes?
I'd like to take a little time to think it over.
Oh, of course, Mrs. Van Guyler.
But, Cornelia, I thought you said
Never
that...
mind what I said. I haven't decided anything yet. As a matter of fact, I don't know that I want to live so far from town. I'll get in touch with you again, Mrs. Shepherd, when I've made my decision.
Well, just as you please.
In the meantime, I'll say good day. Come, Hugo.
Oh, that must be my husband.
I let George in, Helen.
Your husband, Mrs. Perry.
Yes.
Here you are.
I'd like to meet him, if I may.
Well, of course.
I've got one or two questions for him.
Really? Well, he may not know all the answers.
Well, that remains to be seen.
I hope I'm not intruding.
No, of course not. May I introduce Mr. Perry, Mr. and Mrs. Van Guyler?
How do you do? Glad to know you, Mr. Perry.
What happened to your golf match, dear?
Had to cancel it. The course is flooded. We wanted rain, but not a cloudburst.
We think your climate is glorious.
That's fortunate if you're going to live here permanently. I understand you're interested in buying this place. I must say I envy you the opportunity.
We haven't decided to take it yet.
Well, I shouldn't waste too much time thinking it over if I were you. Bound to attract a lot of interest. A lovely old place like this.
I'd never waste time, Mr. Perry. Tell me, have you read Felicity Frobisher?
Oh, yes. Yes, I've read all Robert's books. Knowing the author gave them special interest for me.
Of course, but I guess you didn't know the author as well as he knew your wife.
Why do you say that, Mrs. Van Guyler?
Well, weren't you surprised to find your wife's character portrayed in such intimate detail?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You knew, of course, that she was Felicity Frobisher.
Who?
Your wife.
Oh, for heaven's sake, get him out of here.
George, dear, I think we'd better be going.
Just a minute, Helen. I'd like to know what Mrs. Van Guyler means.
Mrs. Perry has just been explaining how Robert used her as a model for the character Felicity. The likeness, I understand, is quite astonishing. I should have thought you'd be the first to notice it.
You mean my wife is supposed to be like Felicity Frobisher?
In every way, Mr. Perry.
Oh, no. There's no resemblance at all.
Are you sure?
Well, I ought to know. I've been married to her for 12 years.
All right, George, we won't argue about it. Now, come on, let's go.
I guess we ought to be going too, Cornelia.
Just one moment, Hugo. I'd like to get this thing settled one way or another. If this lady is not Felicity Frobisher, why does she persist in saying she is?
I have my reasons.
What reasons?
I prefer to keep them to myself.
Well, Mr. Perry, it's none of my business, but if I were in your shoes, I think I'd have my wife examined by a psychiatrist.
How ridiculous. It's perfectly obvious that if anyone needs a psychiatrist...
Now, don't be silly, dear.
I'm not being silly.
Yes, you
Oh,
are.
George, Helen, please.
We all know you're not a bit like Felicity Frobisher. Why you should want to claim any resemblance to a woman like that, I can't imagine.
The trouble with you is you can't imagine anything.
What?
What makes you so sure there's no resemblance?
Oh, come along, dear. They're waiting for us at the club. We're going to play bridge.
Let them wait.
Oh, Helen, dear, before you say anything more...
You keep out of this, Mary. Really, George, the way you take me for granted is becoming absolutely unbearable. You're so utterly sure of yourself and of me. You just can't imagine any other man finding me attractive. Or vice versa, for that matter.
Have I ever said so? Have I?
Yes. Your whole attitude says so. Smug. That's what you are. When other men flirt with me at the club, all you do is smile, as much as to say, you're wasting your time, boys. She's only interested in me.
Well,
you could be wrong, you know. You could be wrong about it. And about a number of other things.
Let's go, Cornelia. This is a private quarrel. I don't want any part of it.
No, Hugo, wait.
Oh, but my stomach's acting up on me.
Oh, eat a bromide tablet, dear.
The trouble with you, George, is that you think you know all there is to know about me. But let me tell you, there are hidden depths in me that you've never even suspected. I've got a lot more in common with Felicity Frobisher than you think. And if you imagine you've got nothing more to learn about me, you've never made a greater mistake in your life.
But she was a loose woman.
She wasn't loose, Mr. Perry. She was free. Gloriously, magnificently free.
Then it's silly of you, Helen, trying to emulate her. You're not free. You're married to me.
Now, look here, Helen, George, I'm afraid this is all my fault.
Oh, no, Mary. Mary, it isn't your fault. It's been coming to this for ages. Our marriage is nothing but a hollow mockery.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Helen. Anyone would think I treated you badly.
You do worse than that. You don't treat me at all. For all you care. And my goodness, will be dead. Oh, dear. Poor Helen.
I can't understand what's come over her.
You have my sympathy, Mr. Perry. It must be trying for you, living with a split personality.
Oh, rot.
I beg your pardon.
I said rot, madam. My wife's personality is perfectly sound.
George, you'd better go into the study and talk to her.
Yes, there must be some good reason for this extraordinary behavior.
I'm sorry about this misunderstanding, Mrs. Shepherd.
Yes, I'm sorry, too.
I guess I was a little upset, but I should have known not to take your friend too seriously. It's pretty obvious that she only said what she did to get back at her husband for the way he's been treating her.
But that's what I can't understand. I've never known them to quarrel before.
It just shows you should never take anything for granted, doesn't it? I can imagine how your friend got the idea that she was Felicity Frobisher. Probably wishful thinking. However, I'm glad that little matter's been cleared up so satisfactorily.
Does this mean we're going to buy the house then, after all?
Of course we are.
Oh, but I thought you said it was too far from town.
As a matter of fact, I think it's just right.
Oh, but you haven't even seen it yet.
I'm sure it's perfect, Mrs. Shepherd. The house where dear Robert lived could never be less than that to me.
Oh, I should warn you, it's very cold in winter.
You have central heating?
No, we haven't.
We'll have it installed, won't we, dear?
I guess so.
Oh. It's terribly quiet, you know, right off the beaten track.
My dear, I loathe beaten tracks.
Oh, do you? The nearest cinema is 5 miles away.
That suits me fine. I never go to the cinema.
Oh. In summer, the mosquitoes are terrible.
That's perfectly all right, my dear. Mosquitoes never bother me, do they, Hugo?
No, dear. Only me.
Oh, and you hear strange noises sometimes in the middle of the night. There's a rumour the place is haunted.
Oh, well, that'll be poor Robert, I expect, trying to get through. It's good of you to point out the snags, my dear, but I know we're just going to love being here. You see, I believe that whatever happens, nothing can break this wonderful bond between Robert and me. It's something, well, something quite out of this world.
No.
What did you say?
Mrs. Van Guyler, please allow me to speak frankly. I'm not going to sell this house to you.
What? What do you mean you're not going to sell it? Why not?
Because I don't want you to have it, that's why.
You don't?
No. In trying to prevent you from buying it without hurting your feelings too much, I've already caused a major quarrel between two of my oldest and dearest friends. I could have saved everyone a great deal of trouble by saying in the first place what I'm going to say now. For more than 10 years, my husband and I loved each other dearly. We shared this house as we shared our lives. And the thought of you or any other woman living here in a welter of neurosis and sickly sentimentality is more than I could bear. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, no, this is the absolute end. Neurosis and sickly? Oh, no, never in my life, never in my entire life has anyone dared to say such dreadful things to me. Hugo, take me away! Take me away! I just couldn't bear another insult, not one. You may keep your house, madam. I don't want any part of it. Come, Hugo!
I'll be right out, dear. Mrs. Shepherd, I don't know how to thank you for what you've done.
Well, I'm sorry. I had to be so outspoken.
Oh, I'm glad. I've been wanting to talk to her like that for years, but I guess I never had the courage. That ought to put a stop to all this soulmates nonsense. Oh, I sure am grateful, ma'am.
Oh, well, I just hope your wife will be a little more reasonable when she calms down.
Well, you can take it from me, Mrs. Shepherd. From now on, I'll be the only man in Cornelia's life. Oh, well, I guess I better be going. Well, goodbye, ma'am. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, thank you. I hope your journey hasn't been entirely wasted.
On the contrary, it's been very much to my advantage.
I'm very glad. Goodbye, Mr. Van Guyler.
Goodbye, Mrs. Shepherd. I hope your friends will be all right.
I think they will be. Goodbye. Hello, you two. Our visitors have gone. You can come out now.
Well, what's the verdict?
No sale.
Good for you, Mary.
Yes, but what about you two? Is everything all right?
Oh, my dear, everything's perfect. Isn't it, George?
Thanks to you, Mary, we seem to have reached a new understanding, Helen and I.
Have you? Oh, I'm so glad.
There's just one thing still puzzles me.
And what's that?
Who was Felicity Frobisher?
You have been listening to Drama International. Join us again next week at the same time for more Drama International. Drama International.
The Gift by Pete Haslam.
It was just another day at the office for Dave Hooper. He was in his late 20s, an amiable, affable fellow, but a man with no responsibilities, no direction in life. He coasted along, often quite oblivious to what was happening around him. Dave was, in fact, a bit of a daydreamer, and it was that which got him usually into bother. Then one day, it all changed.
Dave, have you got that project ready yet for the presentation? Don't forget we're seeing Mortimer at 2. He's a tough cookie.
Yes, well, you see, the thing is, Sue, no.
No?
You see, things haven't gone quite to plan, and I thought I was going to have enough time to get it finished, but it isn't.
Finished?
Started.
Not started? Not started? You've not actually started it. What have you been doing then, pray tell? I tell you what you've been doing. Playing around, not getting on with your work, surfing the internet, taking long lunches, playing the fool. Well,
I suppose so.
That's it. I've had it up to here with you, Dave. You're a nice guy, but you're a liability, and I'm going to have to let you go. There's no other way. I'm sorry.
But Sue, I can't. You can't. I mean, what am I going to do for money?
You'll get a month's salary and holiday pay. You're fired. Go clear your desk now.
What? What's happened? What? Nobody's moving. Everything's stopped. This is weird. It's like I'm in a picture. The clock. The clock stopped. What? Sue! Sue! Wake up.
She is not asleep.
Then what's happened to her? To everybody? Why do they look like they're frozen? And why aren't I? Am I dead? Are they dead? And who are you, anyway?
Do not panic.
How am I supposed to react? Look, whoever you are, wherever you are, what have you done? Come out and show yourself. If you're ugly, stay hidden. I scare easy.
Permit me to introduce myself. I am the Timekeeper.
Timekeeper?
I am the keeper of time, all time, throughout the cosmos.
You're kidding. It's a reality show, right? I've been set up. Where are the cameras, then? Where's the crew? At least you look human. Good costume, though. Very Star Trek, floaty stuff.
I am interdimensional. That is, I am able to cross from one dimension to the other at will. I can suspend time as I have done now. All this is taking place in 1/1,000,000th of a second. Your friends are merely frozen in time. I can slow it down and speed it up. I can alter time for you if you wish it.
Let me get this straight, Mr. Timekeeper, or whatever your name is. You can alter time? For me?
That is so. Time is like a reel of film. You can pause it, fast forward or rewind. You need more time, so I am here to give it to you. Simply hold this small orb in your hand. Go on. Take it. It will not harm you.
Neat gizmo.
It will slow time. Suspend time, rewind or go forward briefly, just as you wish it. It reads your thought patterns.
Cool.
A word of warning. As any other mortal, this device will not free you from eventual death, and it should not be used to cause harm, distress, or anguish. Do not attempt to alter what has already happened either, for that can have disastrous consequences. Visit the past with pleasure. Do not tamper with it. Consider it a gift, to use for a good and constructive future life.
Well, this is all a bit heavy. Oh, he's gone. Well, I suppose I can put it to the test. How about giving me some more time to do the presentation?
And that's exactly what Dave did. Having set time back in motion, he completed the presentation and surprised Sue by having it ready.
Ta-da! There you go. I was just joking. See?
Great laugh.
So why did you let me just fire you?
Felt lucky, I guess.
Oh, well, come on then. We'd better get off. Oh, my watch has stopped. Have you got the right time, Dave?
Constantly, Sue. Constantly.
Over the next few weeks, Dave indeed became the model employee, working hard, getting things finished on time, and even, to his own surprise, becoming a respected member of the team. But that wasn't enough. He wanted to be more financially secure.
Well, lad, did Sue give you a raise?
Well,
Did she or didn't she?
she said she would like to, in recognition of the turnaround I've made recently. But there's no money in the budgets. Typical.
Ah, well, that's that then. You want to come out with me and Jenny tonight for a few bevies? I thought we could go and have a curry later on.
No, thanks all the same, mate. I've got to do some thinking. More money would be great, but where do I get it from?
Ah, well, apart from robbing a bank, you'll just have to continue being a wage slave like the rest of us plebs, till the day of the glorious revolution.
Yeah, see you, Nick. Love to Jenny. Oh, and you two don't make any noise when you come back to the apartment.
No, sorry, I'm sure.
Whispering all those sweet nothings and the creaky bed. And another thing, at least will you open a window after you've had a cigarette?
What?
The lounge stinks after you've been in. I don't know what Jenny sees in you. It must be like kissing an ashtray.
You'll not feel like that when you've got a woman of your own.
Yeah, chance would be a fine thing. You've got the best woman out of us all.
Some of us, Davy boy, have the animal magnetism, that little bit of something special.
Yeah.
Now, if I had more money, you see, Jenny would only spend it. Anyway, chance of her meeting a chap with loads of dosh is... Oh, looky there. There's a pig flying past the window.
Things were going pretty well for Dave. In fact, one day in particular, he hit upon a foolproof way to make himself wealthy, and maybe even attractive to the girls. It started as he read the paper one Saturday morning.
How can I make more money? I can't keep living like this. That time gizmo must be able to come up with something. Hang on a sec. I've got it. Horse racing. Or the lottery. I can go into the future and find out what the winning lottery numbers are. It's sound. It can't fail. Right. Where's the sphere? Let's see, I left it in this drawer. Okay, sphere. Do your stuff. Take me to tonight at 8 o'clock in this room. And there we are, watching the TV. So, let's have those winning numbers.
And here comes the first number, 47. Number 1. We've not seen that for some time now. What's up next?
And so it went on. Dave wrote down all the winning numbers of that night's lottery.
So, who's been lucky tonight? Is it your life that'll be changed forever? Join us later on in the evening to find out.
And with that, Dave lost no time, if you pardon the pun, in getting along to the newsagent to test out his theory, because, after all, it would only cost him £1 to find out.
Morning, Norman. I'd like to buy a lottery ticket, please. Just the one.
Think you're in for a bit of luck, eh? Pah, nobody ever wins round here, apart from a few tenors every now and again. Oh, well, suppose it's all for a good cause anyway.
Yes, it is, Norman. A very good cause. Me, I hope.
After his mammoth lottery win, Dave was well and truly in clover. Let's face it, who wouldn't be with over £6 million in the bank? But Dave's thoughts began to turn to women. Well, actually, one woman in particular.
Dave, it's beautiful. You really shouldn't have.
I thought of you, Jenny, as soon as I saw it. Here, let me put it on for you. Just get that clasp right. Oops.
Oh, that tickles. Let me have a look in the mirror. Oh, bless, it's the most exquisite necklace I've ever seen or worn. And the pearls, they're all real.
No, nothing but the best for you, Jen.
What have I done to deserve it, though? Yes, I know you've millions now, earning Lord knows how much interest each day, but...
No buts. There's much more where that came from. You're a beautiful woman, Jen. And a beautiful woman demands beautiful things. You're very special to me.
And you're a very special man to me, Dave. You always have been.
I have?
Of course. After Nick, you're the best friend I've got.
Best friend. Yeah, best friend, always.
There. Better?
Much. Jenny,
Nick, you're back.
All right, Jen.
Here, look what Dave's bought me. Isn't it just divine? I told him he really shouldn't have bothered.
Let's have a look then, lady. Well, pearls, eh? Expensive pearls.
What other sort are there when you've money to burn?
Jen's right, Davy boy.
Well, I just wanted to treat her.
No, Davy, she's right. You shouldn't have done it. You really shouldn't have.
Dave's feelings for Jenny were becoming stronger and stronger. He'd wanted her since the first time Nick began going out with her. Dave had always been a little jealous, but now he was becoming consumed, obsessed. He wanted Jenny for himself, and now he had the money to make it possible. Dave was prepared to go to any lengths to make her his. Any lengths at all. Whatever the consequences.
Hello?
Hi, Nick, it's Dave. Look, I've been thinking.
Oh, that'll be a first, man.
Look, mate, I want to make it up to you and Jen for the other night. I'm sorry, I was bang out of order buying Jen that necklace. I didn't think how it must have made you feel. I was just being selfish. I suppose... it's just that now I've got the money to do it. Well, as I say, I just didn't think. What are you both doing tonight?
Well, being a penniless pleb, unlike you now, nothing. I can't afford it. Anyway, what have you got in mind?
Well, there's this rather posh restaurant I've started going to. It must be posh because the prices are sky high and there's little or nothing on your plate. But it's all done very artistically.
Oh, yeah.
So, if I book us a table for 3 for, say, 8 o'clock, how does that sound?
Well, if you're paying, Davy boy, sounds fine. Cheers, mate. Consider yourself forgiven. I'll be working until around 6:30, so I'll have to pop home to change, meet you at the flat around 7:30. Then you can guide us or give us a lift in that fancy new motor of yours.
Great. I'll see you later then.
However, Dave wasn't being as gracious as he seemed. He had an ulterior motive. Jenny.
Now, Sphere, take me to the office car park. Around 6 tonight. Well, here I am. First thing to do is find Nick's car. Who's this? Oh, it's Sue and somebody from the office. Don't know her. Better keep out of the way. Mind you, hang on. They can't see me. Oh, damn. Wallet's fallen out of my back pocket. Still, that's okay. They'll not see it.
There's something on the ground.
What? Oh, I'm sure that girl's seen it. How's she done that? I thought the wallet was invisible, like me. Oh, both looking around now. Can they see me? Nah, didn't think they could. Yeah, it's like when I travelled into the future to get the lottery numbers that day. Nobody saw me then. Oh, now she's handed the wallet to Sue. Oh, she's opening it. She'll see it's mine. Yeah, she's canny as well as that Sue. She'll have an idea something's going on. She'll want to know why I'm about. Damn, that was a stupid mistake. How am I going to get out of this? Good. Sue's gone too. Right, now to find Nick's car. Ah, there it is. That's the one. Now, just to make sure you don't quite make it in time to the flats. Sorry, matey, but all's fair in love. A little snip of the fuel pipe is... Just make sure you won't get to the flat before me. Jenny, here comes your man.
The petrol began to leak from Nick's car. The deed was done.
Easy. Nick gets delayed, I get the girl. Okay, Sphere, let's go back.
Later, Nick was in for a shock, and eventually, so was Dave.
Oh, where's the ruddy car keys? Oh, this lighting's rubbish. Oh, there they are, right.
I think I'll have a quick ciggy before I go. Oh, I really must give up. Jen's right. One more won't do any harm, though. Make it a New Year's resolution to stop.
But as Nick disposed of the still burning match... Meanwhile, at the restaurant, the rest of Dave's plan was falling into place. Or so he thought.
I wonder where Nick is. He's never this late normally, not without ringing me first.
It's probably the car. He said he's been having some trouble with it. Something about a fuel leak, I think. He'll be here maybe soon. But in the meantime, may I propose a toast to us?
Oh, excuse me, Dave, I'm sorry. This is probably Nick. Hello? Now then, late man. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, Sue, yes, how are you? What? How? I'll be over as quick as I can, thanks, Sue. It's Nick. He's been in an accident at work. I must go. Waiter, get me my coat now, please.
Jen, you know how I love you, Jen. I'll be here for you. I've always wanted you to be mine.
Dave, no, leave me alone,
But Jen...
please. I'm fine. I've got to get to the hospital.
I'll drive you.
No, Dave, I'll get a cab. I can manage on my own. I don't need you fussing. Waiter, please get me a taxi now. Dave, why are you following me? I told you to leave me alone. The cab will be here any time now.
But Jen, you don't understand.
Don't understand what?
I want to be there for you and care for you.
Oh.
You must have noticed how well we've got on over the years. You must have felt it too. It's something more than just a friendship.
I don't know how you can go on like this, Dave. This is sick.
No.
I don't know what's going on in that warped little mind of yours, and I don't want any part of it.
But Jen...
You're not the man you were. Something's changed.
No.
You're greedy and, well, weird. You think you can buy anything now, or anybody. Well, you can't buy me.
I don't want to buy you, Jen. It isn't about money. Or you being my possession. I just want to love you. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Believe me.
You're a creep, Dave. A very sick creep.
No.
And I don't want anything more to do with you. I just hope that you and your millions will be very happy together. I've no time to talk to you now, and to be honest, I don't want to ever see you or speak to you again. The infirmary, please.
But Jen, I could give you all the time you want. All the time you want. My gift to you. Time.
Excuse me, I'm here to see Mr. Nicholas Elliot. He was admitted after an accident. Just a moment, madam. I'll find out where he is for you. Oh, I'm afraid it looks like he's in theatre at the moment. If you'd care to wait, I'll get someone to speak to you. Are you a relative? I'm his partner. Just a moment, then. I'll call for someone. Please, take a seat. Thanks.
Jenny seemed to be there forever. All she wanted to know was if Nick was all right. Eventually, she found out.
Well, Doctor?
Jenny, I'm really very sorry. We did everything we could.
No, it can't be. Please, no, no.
Dave's plan was in ruins. He'd lost his friend. He'd lost the girl. He was in shock. How could it have all gone so very wrong? He sat alone, contemplating his future.
It won't be long. The police will be here soon. Sue's bound to have told them that she and that girl found my wallet. Then they'll take me down to the station. Question me. They'll have interviewed Jenny, and she'll tell them I said I loved her. She'll mention the necklace and how angry Nick was about it. It'll not take them long to realise I had something to do with it. It'll all come out. The sphere. Everything. But would they believe me about the sphere? The timekeeper, for goodness sake. Or would they just lock me away in a mental institution and forget about me? I know. Yes, perhaps if I destroyed the sphere, would everything revert to normal? Oh, but what the hell is normal? And can it be destroyed? What's happening? Is that sphere doing something again? No!
You were warned.
What are you talking about?
You have created wanton death, carnage, distress and destruction by your gross misuse of time.
It wasn't my entire fault. How was I to know he was going to light a cigarette before he got into the car? Eh? You can't pin that on me.
Justice shall prevail.
And what are you going to do? Eh? Shove me to the police? Yeah, like that's possible. You, a creature from another time dimension.
Your crimes will not go unpunished.
Punishment? But you can't. I did nothing wrong. It was that blasted sphere's fault. If you hadn't given it to me...
It is my decision you should be sent to the future. Just a few moments into the future, however. You will be incapable of interaction. You will be able to see and hear all those around you and never be able to respond till the day you die. And believe me, that is a very long way away. Think of it as a time cell from which there is no escape. Now, prepare yourself.
No, you can't. It's not fair. It's not fair. No, stop. It's not fair. Please help me. It's not fair. Please help. No, stop. No.
And so it was. Dave effectively disappeared off the face of the earth. Happily, Jenny did find love once more. She gave away the necklace to raise money for charity. Dave's house was eventually put up for sale and bought by a very likeable professional couple and their 2 children. They turned it into a warm, loving, cosy and happy family home. The only thing they couldn't understand was the clock on the mantel in the lounge would never work properly. It was always around 5 minutes fast, strangely enough. And occasionally, they would almost swear they could hear somebody moving about in the house. Who could it be?
It's not fair. It's not fair.
A single moment is often all it takes to make us what we are, forever. Because whatever time we have is the only time we have. Cherish it. Use it wisely. Good night. Sleep tight.
In The Gift, you heard Robin Bauman as the storyteller, with Les Smith as Dave, Howard Watson as Nick, Michelle Harris as Jenny, Tina Masters as Sue, Debbie Atwell as the receptionist, and Pete Haslam as the timekeeper. The Gift was written and directed by Pete Haslam, with sound production by Howard Watson.
You have been listening to Drama International. Join us again next week at the same time for more Drama International. Drama International.
Tonight's story is The Horror of It All, written by Pete Haslam and introduced by Robin Bowerman.
One day it can open the door to riches, adulation, acceptance. The next, it can slam that very same door in your face and throw you into the gutter. That's what often happens to those in the precarious professions of theatre, film, the arts. And that's what almost happened to Evelyn de Brie. But Miss de Brie was a survivor. And how? As young writer Tom Sweeting was to find out the day he first called to interview her for his book, Still Shining Brightly, Yesterday's Stars.
Mr. Bree?
It is I, dear heart.
My name's Tom Sweeting. You may remember speaking to me on the phone recently. You kindly agreed to talk to me about your experiences in theatre and film.
Oh, why, of course, darling boy, do come in. Oh, please forgive Hitch. He's always a little noisy with strangers. Although he's only tiny, I think he'd really like to take a lump out of your leg if he could. You know these little dogs, beneath that nervous exterior, there beats the heart of a lion. Down, Hitch, bad boy. Nice man has come to see Mummy, hasn't he? He won't hurt Mummy Kims, will he? Say hello, Hitch.
Hello, Hitch.
No, dear, I meant the dog.
Right.
Say hello to the lovely, scrummy young man, Sweetie Pie. Oh, I say, doesn't he just love you? Look at him, licking you. Bless dear little Hitchy kids.
Yeah, lovely dog, I'm sure, thank you. Just one question. Why is he called Hitch?
After the master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock, or Hitch for short, as we used to call him. He was a real character, one of the greats. Well, come into the drawing room, Pumpkin, and we'll make a start, shall we?
Lovely, thank you, Mr. Goodman.
Come with me, darling. Follow me. Oh, Hitch, do get out of the way.
It's a lovely place you've got.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? I love it. Yes, very, very. We're nearly there, dear. This is my gorgeous lounge. It is simply beautiful, isn't it? Come here, sweetie, and sit by me. My hearing's not what it was, you know. Now, where do you want to start?
Well, I just need to set up my recorder, Mr. Free. Hang on a minute.
That's a very fiddly little thing, isn't it?
Yes. Right. Now, if you just do a bit of level for me, please.
Certainly, darling. What do you want me to say?
Just one sec. There we go. Oh, what did you have for breakfast? That sort of thing.
Now, let me think. I began, as always, with coffee and croissant, followed by half a grapefruit and some toast. For lunch, I had meat. I'm not a great vegetarian. There's nothing I like better than a juicy piece of rump. That enough?
Yes, that sounds fine, Mr. Prey. Yes, let's start then, Mr. Prey.
Evelyn, please, dear heart. So less formal.
Okay, Evelyn.
Yes.
When did it all start for you then?
I can remember it as if it were yesterday. In fact, I can remember it better than yesterday. 1941. I was on stage in a review with Tommy Tonks. He was a comedian.
Really?
So he thought. The review was called I Don't Mind If I Do. That was one of his ghastly catchphrases.
Very saucy.
He'd made a couple of cheap films in the north. Manchester, I think, based on his character, Will Get It. Will he get it? You understand?
Yes.
They weren't very funny to us here in London, but the mill workers flocked to see him. And at the music hall, too. So, on the strength of his popularity, he got his review.
And where did you come into it?
I was his leading lady, unfortunately.
And did you get on?
Horrible, dirty little man, foul-mouthed language, and breath. One night, he tried to have his wicked, evil way with me.
Really?
He thought I was an easy target. I was young, in my first bloom of beauty, and he tried to get his evil way.
And what exactly happened?
I ate him for breakfast.
Pardon?
I knocked hell out of him. He never touched me again.
And on she went. For hours. The material was unbelievable. Her memory for events and dates, people and places was a treasure trove of times past. Tom was thrilled.
Listen to me going on, sweet pea. Oh, dear. Would you like some tea? Perhaps a slice of my homemade Madeira cake as well. Can I tempt you? It looks like you could do with fattening up. There's hardly enough on you to feed a mouse.
Oh, that'll be lovely, Evelyn. But I must be going. I should really get back home and type this up.
I suppose there's some little girl waiting for you with some delicious concoction?
No, there's not, I'm afraid. I'm on my own.
Well, what do your parents think about your book and all the work you're putting into it?
They'll never know, Evelyn. I'm afraid they died some years ago.
Oh.
In a boating accident.
Oh, I'm so sorry, darling. How absolutely ghastly for you. And how tactless of me to bring up the subject. Please forgive old Evie.
Oh, of course. Oh. You weren't to know, don't worry.
But I do, darling, I do. We humans weren't designed to be alone. Well, that's what I kept telling each of my 5 husbands.
5 husbands?
Yes. But look, I must tell you about them some other day.
Yeah.
Are you sure I can't tempt you to my Madeira? It's a very special recipe. Yeah. Quite unlike anything you've ever tasted before.
No, thanks. Maybe next time. There's always tomorrow.
Oh, yes, fine, darling, just fine. You know, you're a lovely boy. So full of life and vigour. Inquisitive, intelligent, a certain charm. You remind me of husband number 3, Godfrey. Oh, bless him. He came to an untimely end in the kitchen. Really? It was an accident. He got a little too close to the cooker. Oh, there was nothing I could do for him. Still, hey-ho, that's showbiz.
OK, then, I'll be seeing you tomorrow, then. Will you be all right on your own?
Oh, I'll be just hunky-dory now. Off you trot. But you won't get away with not trying some cake tomorrow. We must get you fattened up. You'd be doing an old lady a great favour.
Well, if you put it like that, how can I refuse? Thank you, it'll be a pleasure. You remind me a bit of my old Nan, only more glamorous, of course. She always fussed.
That's what we old ladies are good at, fussing. I just want to serve you, look after you. Till tomorrow, dear sweet sweeting. Au revoir, mon chéri.
I'll be on my way then.
And so Tom left Evelyn safe in the knowledge of a good day's research, and Evelyn was quite pleased with herself too, though for a very different reason.
Well, Hitchy-Poo, isn't young Tom absolutely adorable? It's going to be lovely having such a scrumptious young man around the house, isn't it, dearest doggy? It's been a very long time since we had someone for dinner. Oh, dear boy, it's you. Do come in. I've been waiting for you, you know. I've been waiting for you. I have something you love. Oh, here, darling, come this way. Oh, silly head. You will get in the way, won't you? I've something of a surprise for you, Tom. There you go, my sweet. Today's entertainment.
Wow, a projector.
Yes. I've got some bits of my films for you. It was dear old Ernie, who was just a junior film editor at Gainsborough Studios during the war. He spliced together some clips for me. So, are we sitting comfortably?
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Let the command performance begin.
But, Nigel, I don't think I can stand the thought of you going away to war. Yes, I know you'll be fighting for our liberty, our national way of life, but what about our life? Yours and mine.
You know I must, Veronica. The Boche are in Calais. They could invade at any time. Then it would be goodbye to everything.
Nigel, kiss me once more before you leave. Farewell, my brave Nigel. Godspeed.
Goodbye, my dearest.
But I shall return, darling. I shall return to you. And a better world.
That was a clip from one of my most successful wartime repeats. The Brighter Horizon with dear old Claude Aubrey as Nigel. Oh, he was great fun to work with, but very camp. He used to lay flowers at the feet of the doorman at the Savoy, you know. Terribly embarrassing in real life, really, but in films, oh, he was just right. Very upstanding, square-jawed English hero.
And what happened to him?
Oh, he ended up in an old folks' home in Eastbourne. All very sad. When I see those flickering images up on the screen, I think about how I am now, the old lady, and see myself as that flighty, feisty young heroine, a gypsy driving James Mason wild, making love to a Victorian hero like Stuart Granger. Oh, well, they're all gone now.
Are you okay, Evelyn?
Yes, my darling. Fine, thank you. Anyway, let's see some more, shall we?
And the show went on with clips from Evelyn's films. Then, after the show finished and the curtains drawn back, Tom asked Evelyn about her wilderness years.
Things changed after the war. All those kitchen sink dramas written by the angry young men. Elegance, breeding and wit was out. Realism, or their version of it at any rate, was in. No room for me. Oh, I began to guest occasionally on those TV adventure film series in the 60s. I became a character actress. And then the work eventually, well, dwindled away to nothing. Do you know, I was stopped one day in the supermarket by an old lady. "Didn't you used to be Evelyn de Brie?" she asked. To which I replied with a tear in my eye, "Indeed, I did." Until one day the phone rang and it was Tony Talbot, a young man with a great personality and joie de vivre. And he asked me if he could send me a script called Blood Feast. Now, I'd never taken much notice of this cheap and tacky horror stuff, but he was offering me a good whack for it, and we could make it at a small independent studio close to where I lived. So I said yes, and I never looked back. I became known as the Grand Duchess of Gore. It was then that I got a real taste for horror.
Please, I'd love to know more about this period, but I don't know about you. I feel like we should take a break.
Oh,
Shall we have a cuppa? Don't worry, I'll make it. If that's okay with you.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea, sweetie, and I'll get the Madeira.
Lovely.
But I must just pop to the little girl's room first.
Tom went into the kitchen to prepare the tea. He looked out into the well-ordered garden, the colours of the summer flowers, the bees buzzing around, and the beautiful balmy day made him feel at peace with the world. Things were good. This book would make him famous, and he was enjoying every minute of his research. Suddenly, he noticed an old shed down at the foot of the garden covered in ivy, apart from the door. He fancied investigating further.
This looks interesting. I love rickety old sheds like this. I wonder what's inside. Lovely old tools, and probably a smashing old-fashioned lawnmower. I can just imagine that.
Then, Tom felt a presence, followed by a skeletal hand grasping his shoulder tightly. For a split second, he was terrified.
What do you think you're doing?
Oh, Evie, I'm really sorry.
There's nothing to see in there, dear. Oh, a freezer, an old axe and a chainsaw. You know, the usual type of things one has in a shed.
Yeah, right. Please, forgive me. It was a bit rude.
Come and have your tea and cake. I don't know about you, dear heart, but I'm absolutely ravenous.
Oh, right then. Yeah, lovely.
Is that all right?
Oh, thanks. That's lovely.
Now, let me tell you about my horror years.
Oh, please, yeah.
Cake.
Oh, yes, please.
It's in the 80s I started working on those Tony Talbot films.
The Corella the Cannibal
series?
Yes.
Yes, it was a role I could really get my teeth into and have great fun. Don't forget your cake.
Right.
There you are, darling, all right?
Thanks, yeah. So They saved you from bankruptcy.
Oh, indeed they did. After I'd lost husband number 5, things became, how shall I put it, a bit tight. I'll tell you something else, too. Those films gave me a taste for flesh.
Flesh Fest.
Yes.
That was probably the one you were most famous for.
Yeah.
You know, that gained quite a cult following. I thought you were great as Corella.
No, darling. I wasn't great.
Oh, do you think not?
No. I was unbelievably fantastic! Oh, yes, Flesh Fest. That was the one where I lived out in the country in a big old rambling house and devoured some poor unfortunate students, one by one, after they'd broken down and called on me for help. Of course, that couldn't happen here, in the middle of London, could it?
Of course not.
There have to be all the elements. Cannibal, victim, and it all has to be done quietly and cleanly. Here is too busy, too noisy. Or is it? When you think about it carefully, you could quite easily kill someone in a house like this, and their screams for mercy would probably never be heard. Traffic around, planes overhead. You know, these days, neighbours round here don't pay much attention to one another. You could be suffering a terrifying ordeal, and nobody would ever know. Empty bedsits and flats all around, people too busy or out at work, nobody about to witness the crime. It's a great plot. Have another slice of cake, darling.
Thanks. It's got a very unique taste, doesn't it?
Oh, my very special recipe. There's a secret ingredient.
Really? Are you going to have any?
Oh, I'm not hungry, darling. Not for cake, anyway. Besides, if I don't eat any, it means there's more for you, eh?
Yeah, it's lovely.
A little later on in the afternoon, Tom began to feel faint, almost drunk, but he couldn't be. After all, he'd only taken tea and Madeira cake.
You look a little wan, dear sweeting, a little pale. Are you feeling unwell?
Oh, I am actually rather sleepy.
Oh, good. Just as I planned.
What?
You see, dear Tom, I've had my heart set on you since you first walked into my home. You're the one.
You're not trying to drug me with that stuff. I think that's great.
Oh, no, sweetie. Perish the thought. I'm well past all that. I have another use for you altogether.
By this time, the effect of the drug was really taking hold, and Tom began to hallucinate.
You, my dear boy, are to be my next meal. I worked it out very carefully. You're alone in the world. Anyone who does know you won't realize you're gone until it's far too late. They'll think you've disappeared, depressed, sad, perhaps. I've managed it before with no problem. I was approached by a beggar in the street a while ago. I took pity on him, brought him home, cleaned him up and fed him, and then killed him. He didn't feel a thing. Very tidy, if I say so myself.
Tom staggered to the bathroom. Somehow, he managed to take out the mobile phone from his pocket.
Hello? Hello, is that the police? Help me. Help me, please.
Now then, sir, calm down, please. Can you give me your whereabouts?
I've been trapped by a mad woman who says she's going to kill me and eat me.
Kill you and eat you, sir.
Yeah. Please hurry. I don't have much time.
And where is this alleged incident taking place, sir?
I'm at the home of Evelyn Dupree, Limes, Western Road.
And your name and date of birth, please?
Look, I haven't got time for that. Please get here.
Sir? Sir? Oh, he's gone.
Now that was very, very silly, dear Tom. I think we can get rid of the phone, can't we? Thank you. And now to dispose of the evidence. There. Gone.
You're mad. You're crazy! Get away with it!
Maybe I'm crazy, dear, but I'm not the one about to be tied to the butcher's block, am I? And I did expect something a little more original from you than "you'll never get away with it." You disappoint me, Tom. This is the final reel of my production, my greatest epic. You would appreciate this, being the film buff you are. How many times have you seen the hero or heroine get into a scrape like this, and all of a sudden they're rescued in the last few feet of film? The hero is saved, he gets the girl, the villain is vanquished. But not in my production, dear heart. There's never a happy ending for the victim. You are merely the walk-on. I am the star.
Please, I'll be on the way soon. I'll get you. What's happening? I'm in trouble moving my arms. This officer drives it. How did you drag me? How did you drag me?
The cake, dear. Remember?
Sierra Oscar 51, this is Central. We've just had a 999 from a chap who reckons he's been trapped by a mad woman who's going to eat him. Could be a hoax or a domestic, I suppose. Did sound a bit drunk, just rang off in mid-sentence. But I suppose we'd better check it over.
Okay, Sarge. Where is it? Over.
The Limes, Western Road, just off Richmond Road. Over.
Got it, Sarge. I can be there in 5. Over.
Keep in touch, Steve. Let me know if you need any backup, matey. Probably all finished by now, if there was anything to be over in the first place, though. Maybe you could get a drunk and disorderly out of it, though. Probably a 40 quid on the spot fine. Over.
You're all heart as usual, Sarge. Out.
Meanwhile, things were turning very nasty at the Limes.
Oh, you're heavier than you look. But of course you're a dead weight at the moment. I'm so sorry it's had to come to this, but I just knew you'd be a tasty morsel. Oh, I'll think of you often, and the happy hours we've spent together reminiscing.
Go to hell!
Too late, sweetie pie. I'm already there. Oh, you'll be pleased to know I won't kill you until you're quite unconscious, and you won't feel a thing. I may be getting on a bit, but I'm still pretty good with an electric chainsaw. Do you remember that, dear Tom, in the scene from Blood of the Cannibal, when I take a chainsaw to that strapping private investigator prying about after the disappearance of the young heiress? I learned a lot in those films about how to kill with aplomb, panache, and a certain degree of style. But I really do think the cake routine is the best, though. Who would imagine a dear, sweet old film actress would be capable of mass murder and cannibalism using a Madeira cake? So simple and yet so deadly. Are you still with me? Tom? Good. He's fully under. Now for the preparation. Damn. What if he wasn't bluffing? What if he did get through to the police? Oh, God, I'd better go and see. Yes?
I'm sorry to bother you, madam, but we've had a report of a domestic incident at this address.
A domestic? Oh, how vulgar.
We had an emergency call from a man claiming to be trapped here by a woman who was, well, about to eat him. I'm sorry, madam, it sounds ludicrous, I know.
I can assure you there's nobody else here except Hitch, my little dog. Would you care to come in and check? Oh, I insist, Constable.
OK, madam, if it's not too much trouble.
Of course not, dear boy. I was just about to prepare a snack when you arrived. Would you like a cup of tea? And a slice of Madeira?
You have been listening to Drama International. Join us again next week at the same time for more Drama International.